Okay, so we're ready to go. I'd like to welcome everybody. This is VietChallenge International semi-final round of 2019. My name is Jessie, and I will be the host for today's competition. So this is the fourth year that VietChallenge has been organizing startup competitions for Vietnamese entrepreneurs all around the world. This year we have received 200 applicants, 200 applications, where 19 of them were selected for the semifinal rounds. We have organized two semifinal rounds successfully in Hanoi and Saigon in May and June, and we're excited for the last international semifinal round today. I'll quickly go through regulation after Ms. Mai, VietChallenge CEO, convey her opening speech and introduce the judges.
Thank you, Jessie. Good evening. In some cases, good morning. No matter what time zone you are in, I appreciate that you spending that time with us today. Welcome to VietChallenge 2019. For those of you who are physically here in Boston, I'm impressed that even on a beautiful Friday evening with no publicity, the room is filled. Your presence stands as a testament to how much VietChallenge has grown during these last few years. My name is Mai Zymaris. I'm the CEO of VietChallenge. I'm proud of this competition and of my colleagues who make it happen. As some of you may know, I'm a busy corporate attorney here in Foley Howard, which keeps me a little bit busy. So these are the people who have been running the competition. We have here with us today Tai Nguyen, and he's the co-director of External Affairs. Mai Nguyen, our event planning co-director. Minh Do, our co-director of media production. Hien Nguyen, our co-director of technology. Jessie Dang, our co-director of media production, who is also serving as our host this evening. So many of our team members and volunteers also join us as well. So please give them a round of applause for their hard work and efforts. VietChallenge started out as a student project with a budget of $20,000, basically enough to cover the prizes and a few basic expenses, like the occasional pizza if we were working late, but no extra cheese and no toppings. And I can count on one hand the total number of volunteers we had back then. There were 5 of us. We now need 50 volunteers to handle operations in both the US and Vietnam. Within 3 years, VietChallenge has become the world's most prestigious startup competition for Vietnamese entrepreneurs. Thousands have competed and continue to succeed, raising millions of dollars in angel and venture capital. They have created and continue to create thousands of jobs for the economies in the US, Vietnam, as well as other countries in the world. In our early years, we scoured the globe looking for funding, and at times I felt like I was Dora the Explorer during a pledge drive. Now venture capital funds, major corporations, and government entities in both the US and Vietnam are coming to us. And last night, I had to stay up late because I had to attend a midnight conference call with a well-known fund in Asia looking to invest at least $50,000 in each of our finalists this year with no strings attached. While I'm thrilled by those wanting to join our mission, I'm especially proud of the judges that have remained with us from the beginning. They took a chance on a new competition, and their continued involvement validates the job that we've been doing. Some are with us this evening via Zoom, and some judges will watch the recording later and submit their choices at that time. The results will be revealed during our Vietnam national round on June 30th. So I would like to introduce 2 judges who will be judging in real time today. So the first judge is Mr. Tuan Pham, and Tuan Pham is the Managing Director of Silicon Valley Bank. At SVB, Mr. Pham has focused on building collaborative relationships with emerging and early stage investors and leveraging the SVB platform to have their funds and portfolio companies scale. Before SVB, he was a co-director at Techstars Boston, where he led two cohorts with capital in companies such as Ecovent Systems, Indicio.io, and Refresh Water. The second judge is Mr. Vivek Soni. Vivek is the managing director of TIA and Boston Angels. In this capacity, Mr. Soni oversees the operations of his organization's activities and partnerships. His extensive experience includes senior corporate executive, technologist, entrepreneur, board member, startup advisor, mentor, and investor. He's also the managing partner at Boston Clean Tech, which advises clean tech companies. He also served as the president of corporate technology, strategy, and services at ADTR Birla Group in India. Judging offline would be Mike Edenhart. He is the executive director of numerous startups such as Inman News, Genio, Third Age Media, and Olive Software. Mr. Edenhart's name became well known in the tech circles as the original executive editor of PC Magazine and founding editor of other computer magazines such as Ziff Testing Lab, Testing Software, and other operations. Currently, Mike is the managing partner of Social Starts, a venture capital partnership that invests in early stage social startups. Jeffrey Payne is the managing director at Golden Gate Ventures, which focuses on bringing Silicon Valley to Asia through venture capital. Mr. Payne is one of the most active startup ecosystem leaders in all of Asia. His founder institute semesters have graduated over 115 companies in Singapore, including such wildly successful companies such as iCars Club, Great Blaze, and Vibes. Michael McCarthy is another judge who will be judging offline as well. He started his first business at 16. His first 3 weeks of sales financed his freshman year at NYU. He was the #1 stock market timer in the US and raised $100 million in client assets with an inbound marketing referral program he developed himself. He has also developed the leadership selling program for MIT Sloan Executive Education in 2016, and he's the founder of Power Speaking Coach, a Boston-based consulting firm. Lastly, Queen Va is our judge, and she will also be judging offline. She is the business development director of Zone Startups Vietnam. Ms. Va built an impressive resume in numerous multinational corporations before joining Viet Capital Securities to manage multiple projects, including Vietnam Access Day, a 2-day event that connects leading Vietnamese firms with investors from around the world. So these business leaders will be judging the 5 teams today, as well as the 7 teams at the Vietnam round on June 30th. You will have a select 6 out of 12 semifinalists to advance to the final round at MIT this coming September. This is not an easy task, but given your impressive success stories, we trust that you are up to the challenge. And once again, on behalf of VietChallenge, I would like to thank our judges, volunteers, and audience members for your generous support. And without further ado, my colleague, Jessie Dang, will provide details about the format of tonight's semifinal and review the criteria on which our semifinalists will be judged. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Mai. So again, we're eager to listen to all of the team's hard work being put together and presented to the judges today. So before we start, I'll quickly go through this year's regulation. All of the teams in the semifinal rounds compete against each other, and we will choose 6 teams out of those competed in both the international and national rounds to proceed into the final round happening this September. The grading criteria are based solely on the merit of the entrepreneurship idea without regard to the maximum number of teams that can come from either the national or the international track. The grading criteria consist of 4 parts: idea, team, presentation, and execution. The idea part will be judged based on the team's originality idea, commercial and applicability, and also scalability potentials. The team criteria is based on relevant expertise of members in the team. Presentation include pitch, answering, and finally execution looks at how the team execute the business plan that they present to the judges. And the agenda today will be as follows. At 5:20, we'll start with the first team. Each team will have 5 minutes to go through their pitch deck and then 10 minutes to answer questions from the judges. After first 3 teams will take a short 10-minute break at 6:20, and we'll come back at 6:30 and continue with the last 2 teams. And before we start, a little notes to the judges. So during the team presenting their pitch deck, please turn off your mic, and if you can have your video on. When coming to the Q&A session, we'll turn on your mic, or you can raise your hand or chat into the chat box so we know that you have questions, and turn on your mic so you can ask the team. Judges will send us the grades now until June 25th. And the judges who grade the teams today will also grade the national final round in Hanoi real time. And the result will be announced then.